You're trying to make hiking content that doesn't suck? This video is going to show you how I make hiking videos that capture the essence of my outdoor adventures. So if you've been itching to share your epic hikes with the world, become a hiking influencer, well, stay tuned because I'm about to share the tips and tricks that you need to get started. All right, let's kick things off with step number 1, planning. This is the most important piece of advice that I can give you that will help you make better videos. Before you even hit the trail, you've got to do your homework. The number 1 mistake that I see most hopeful hiking influencers make is that they are not planning their videos or their hikes. Pro tip, hiking videos are all about the story and telling that story effectively. Therefore, study the trail before you go. Know the route, know the terrain, know all the noteworthy spots along the way. There are a lot of good places you can do this. Google, AllTrails, and especially YouTube. You're going to want to go into the trail knowing what you want to film in your video. Otherwise, you'll probably just get a video of a talking head and point of view shots that don't make any sense. And how are you going to tell a story that people want to watch like that? You need to know the trail highlights so that you can start to piece it together how you want to film and what to talk about when you are on camera. If you want to see good examples of poor hiking videos, check out my earlier videos. They were fun to make, but they're kind of painful to watch. The takeaway, learn a few facts about the trail so that you can be seen as an authority by your audience. Hard truth, nobody cares about your hike unless they're trying to be entertained or learn something from you. And the best way to do that is to establish yourself. Another big piece of the planning process that I cannot fail to mention is making sure your gear is ready to go. You're going to want to do this the day before your hike. Charge all your batteries, make sure you bring your memory card, make sure it has space on it, and I highly suggest bringing a charger because this hobby really drains your batteries. I'm telling you this out of love because I've made all of these mistakes. Don't be like me. Now let's talk about step number 2, filming. This is where the magic happens. And not only does it take a little bit of skill, but it takes some thought as well. When you're out there, be sure to film sequential shots. This helps you tell a coherent story and keeps your viewers engaged. For example, you cross a footbridge. There's a mini story there. You walk to it, you walk over it, and then you leave it. So now what you need to do is decide how you want to film that story. Film the approach. Film yourself going over the bridge. Then film yourself leaving. You want to think about this during your entire hike. You want to tell mini stories and you want to use this to tell the big story. Don't forget to capture a variety of shots. Viewers want to see more than a talking head and a point of view film. Film the landscape. Film the textures of the trees or the ground. Film the sun peeking through the trees. Film yourself at a distance crossing the landscape. Convey the mood of the hike and how that plays upon your senses. There's a lot of information that you can give to your audience outside of just words. So here's another pro tip. Don't film like an amateur. What do I mean here? Well, you always want to think about your composition and the editing process. You don't want shaky videos. You don't want quick transitions that make no sense. So when you film above and then to the left and then to the right, it's painful on the eyes. I'm going to recommend that you watch some TV shows, maybe some reality shows, some documentaries, and pay attention to how they are filming. There's a lot you can learn from them. Let's talk about gear. You don't need much, but you are going to want to get a tripod. And you don't need an expensive gimbal either. I use a very cheap one off Amazon. I have expensive ones, but I don't find them versatile enough for my needs. So as you film, keep an eye on framing. Slow down, look at the video, see how it looks. Get rid of your ego and sit there and watch the video. Would you watch what you're making? The last tip I can give you while filming is that you should always be ready for randomness. Some of the best moments happen when you least expect them. Keep the camera rolling or at least be ready to film. Another tip that might help you is that you should also be writing while filming. Be sure to keep notes of your hike as you go along. Preferably, I would use your phone unless you just want to hike with a notebook. And if that's the case, kudos to you. The writing is going to help you with your video descriptions and voiceovers and whatever else you decide to do with that information. Moving on to step number 3, editing. This is where you shape your raw footage into a masterpiece. You don't need anything fancy, you don't need anything expensive. I personally use KineMaster and InShot for all my edits, and I do them on my phone as a matter of convenience. But you can use whatever editing software that you are comfortable with and that's available to you. However, I suggest that you learn the basics and learn some cool techniques to make your videos interesting and stand out. I learned that unless everyone knows your face, you also don't need a fancy intro. You do that and a lot of people are going to be clicking off your video before 30 seconds is up. That just leads to your video going into the dead land of YouTube. Throw in a hook and get going. Your video cannot start slow. Always edit your videos chronologically. Don't try to mix timings in your videos. I personally put everything into the timeline and then begin my edit. Which leads me to pro tip: edit the junk out, or as I say, kill your babies. If you're like me, you're gonna film hours of footage on your hike. You're gonna be ideally wanting only to keep 10% of what you film. There will be shots that you love but don't make sense. Get rid of them. The only way to trim down your video is to spend time with your video. Trim, cut, trim, cut. You're gonna wanna spend more time with your video than you did hiking. If you're not doing that, you're doing it wrong, or at least your video production quality is not gonna be that great. Here is my final tip to keep in mind while editing. Don't make the music too loud. Audio matters more than anything else on the video. I know that's hard to believe, but it's true. If you watch my first hiking videos, the music was so loud and none of my audience was coming for that. Music should complement your visuals, not overpower them. I personally like to run music somewhere between 5 to 10% of the actual audio volume. It's enough to hear, but not enough to distract and persuade your viewers to leave. Now it's time for step number 4, uploading. This is when you share your adventure with the world, but don't rush it. There are a few things you need to do before you upload that video. Remember how I told you to take notes on your hike? Well, that is going to come in handy when you write a well thought out video description that includes relevant keywords. You also need a title that's going to get people to click on your video. Add something suspenseful or answer a question. For me, I mostly put trail names as my titles. My goal is to show up in Google results when people search a trail. You're also going to need a well thought out thumbnail if you want people to click on that video. You can have the most well-made hiking video ever created, but if people do not click on it, it's not going to get the views it deserves. There's a few ways to do this. You can just post a breathtaking picture of the hike. You can put the trail name on the picture of the hike. Or, as I said before, add suspense. This hike was brutal. You get the gist. So far, you've probably spent a lot of time on your video, filming and writing, but seriously take the thumbnail as the most important piece of production that you can do. Make a few variations and then pick the one that you think is most appealing. If it doesn't get the clicks, change the thumbnail. The hiking niche is already a hard niche to get good click-through rate on. You will need to put as much time into thinking about how to get your audience to click on your videos as you do anything else. Finally, we've got step number 5, promoting your hiking video. If you don't have a lot of subscribers yet, I'm gonna suggest that you share your videos on social media accounts, Instagram, Facebook groups, Reddit. This is gonna help you get some initial viewership that will then help the algorithm pick up your video and send it to more people. The name of the game here is to get the people that you share the video with to watch the whole thing. Sometimes it's just sending it to family and friends in a DM. There's something about YouTube when someone watches a video through, it really starts to push that video. There you have it, folks. The essential steps to making hiking videos that captivate your audience and share the beauty of the outdoors. But if you want, to get better at making content, you should take time for self-review. I always watch my videos, I watch them on my phone and on the television so that I can get a better grasp on how the videos are coming out for my audience. Be critical, be harsh. What did you do well? What can you improve? Take notes and use what you learned for your next video. You always want to be getting better and better and better. I hope you enjoyed this video. Get out there, hit the trails, and start creating amazing hiking content. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more tips and outdoor adventures. Until next time, live free and stay creative, friends.